What's up, everybody? Welcome back. So, we're going to be trying out another interesting, spicy team comp in the Great League, basically consisting of Braixen along with Whimsicott. Now, Braixen honestly isn't the best Pokemon to go in with, and probably Delphox is better because it has access to Fire Spin, which can generate energy pretty quickly, and also has that part Psychic typing, which can be pretty useful in certain situations. But Braixen can work pretty well in this team comp along with Whimsicott, which I think is massively underrated because it has a lot of useful resistances because of the Grass and Fairy typing. And of course, Azumarill is going to be that tank which is going to hold this team together. So you'll notice that my Braixen is not fully powered up yet because I want to make sure that when I evolve it, I want the Delphox to be below 2500 CP because I really want to try this thing out in the Ultra League, right? So anyways, let's move on to the first battle here. I'm going to be showcasing a couple of sets of battles where I went 3-2 in both those sets. So we have Azumarill into a Galvantula. Not a great matchup for us. So I'm going to actually stay in and then try and go for Ice Beam here. They are overfarming quite a bit because they're well past a discharge right now. So I'm going to go for the Ice Beam here. It's probably going to get the shield because Galvantula is extremely glassy. And now I'm going to actually let it go through. I'm hoping that they bait with Lunge. A lot of Galvantulas tend to bait with Lunge, which they do, which is fantastic for us, right? That's resisted because of the Fairy typing. And now I'm going to shield this up because I'm expecting this to be a discharge. So I'm going to shield this. Unfortunately, it's just another Lunge. So could have let that go through, but I'm going to go for Ice Beam here. And this is, even though we're double debuffed at this point, this is probably going to take out the Galvantula if it goes unshielded. Unfortunately, they do shield that up, which is fine. They're probably going to farm us down all the way, which is not great for us. So I'm going to come in with Whimsicott here and then basically soak up this charge move. Now Lunge is going to do massive neutral damage because of the Grass and Fairy typing. And yeah, it does about 50% of Whimsicott's health. So I'm going to be able to charm it down. Let's see what they have in the back. And they actually come in with Azumarill. This tells me that whatever is in the back is even weaker to Whimsicott because you wouldn't bring an Azumarill into Whimsicott. So I'm going to actually bring in my Braixen. Even though it's not a great matchup, it's actually a terrible matchup, but I just want to know what's in the back. And I'm going to go for the Psyshock here for some neutral damage. Doesn't really do that much damage. They make a switch into their Obstagoon, right? Understandable why they didn't bring out understandable why they brought out their Azumarill instead. So I'm going to let it go through. It's fine. I'm just going to save the shield for my Whimsicott here and look to close endgame. So I'm going to completely charm this Obstagoon down. Unfortunately, they got the boost on the Night Slash, right? So I'm going to have to shield this up even though it's resisted. It's going to do enough damage. So I'm going to shield this up and then I'm going to try and completely charm this Obstagoon down. And of course, Whimsicott wins CMP against Azumarill. I know Azumarill has a lot of loaded energy, but luckily we're able to get to a Grass Knot first. And this is obviously going to hit for super effective and take out the Azumarill barely. So that's extremely close there. As you can see, Whimsicott can absolutely sweep endgame in a lot of situations. It does so well against majority of the meta, except for obviously Steel types and Skarmory, etc. It can do well against Altaria as well, right? So moving into the second battle, we have Azumarill into a Hitmonchan. Pretty positive lead because we're resisting the counters because of the Fairy typing. Do have to watch out for Thunder Punch, which is going to hit for super effective. But don't really have to shield the first one. That's a decent amount of damage, but it's fine. So I'm going to go for an Ice Beam here. This is probably going to take out the Shadow Hitmonchan if it goes unshielded. It almost takes it out because it's just so glassy. They actually let it go through. It's pretty interesting. So I'm hoping that I can bubble down. Luckily, we were able to bubble down before they could get to another Thunder Punch. So they actually come in with Shiftry and I'm going to go for an Ice Beam here. This is obviously going to hit for super effective because of the Grass typing. And this is really good for us, right? We're basically going to get the shield and we have double Shiftry counters in the back. So this is pretty good for us. So they're going to basically have to throw a charge move right here. It's going to be Leaf Blade, which is going to take out my Azumarill. So I'm going to come in with Braixen because I prefer to have Whimsicott in the back, just in case they have something like an Azumarill in the back. So I'm going to let it go through. Actually, I'm going to shield this because Foul Play would do quite a bit of damage. And let's see what they decide to do. They actually switch into Azumarill, exactly why we go into Whimsicott. This is exactly why I saved Whimsicott for endgame. And yeah, I'm going to shield this up because Ice Beam is going to hit for super effective and it's going to do quite a bit of damage. So yeah, I'm going to shield. It's not a great situation to be in because Azumarill can outpace us to charge moves. So I'm going to try and go for the Grass Knot here, and this is probably going to get the shield from the Azumarill because I think that was a CMP tie on the Ice Beam. So it's going to probably get the shield as it does there, and they're going to go for an Ice Beam here. This is obviously going to hit for super effective. But again, it's not going to take us out, right? We're basically going to survive with that's a decent amount of health left because they can't bubble us down because bubble is resisted. And I'm hoping that I can charm it down and it ends up being a double KO. This is fantastic for us. All I have to do is basically get to a Flame Charge. Unfortunately, Shiftry is able to get to a Charge Move. I'm hoping that Braixen can survive it. It's going to be a Foul Play. It's going to do massive neutral damage, but barely we survive that. I'm able to get to a Flame Charge and it's going to take out the Shiftry there. I mean, Delphox would probably get one shot by Foul Play because it has that part Psychic typing, but Braixen is a pure Fire type, so it only takes neutral damage from the Dark moves, which I think was a pretty positive scenario for us. But yeah, it was too close for comfort there. So, okay, anyways, moving into the next battle here. There was some pretty close wins. There were some tough losses as well. So moving into this one, we have Azumarill into an Altaria. Best case scenario, you can't ask for anything better. They make a switch into their Hypno. Now this is pretty tricky, right? Because this team doesn't really have a hard counter for a Hypno. So I'm going to stay in for a bit and then throw the Hydro Pump here. And I'm hoping they let it go through, because if they let it go through, then I can come in with Whimsicott and Charm down and maintain switch advantage. But they shield that, unfortunately. It's not great for us. I'm going to let it go through. It is probably going to be a Thunder Punch, which is going to hit for super effective. So now I'm going to switch into my Whimsicott, and hopefully I can charm this Hypno down. And I'm going to completely charm it down here. They are overfarming quite a bit. So I'm going to shield this up just in case it's a Shadow Ball or something. I don't want to get hit by it. And also I want to maintain switch advantage. It's just a Thunder Punch shield bait, unfortunately. So at this point, it's probably just going to be another Thunder Punch, right? Which is going to be resisted because of the grass typing. And I'm going to try and completely charm this Hypno down, right? And we're almost at a Moonblast right now. Let's see what comes in. They actually come in with Altaria. This tells me that whatever is in the back is weak to Whimsicott as well. So I'm going to go straight for the Moonblast. They're probably going to think this is a Grass Knot. And boom, near one-shot set. And this is pretty much GG's right now, because we still have a Azumarill. We have a full health Braixen in the back and a shield as well. And there's no way they're going to come back from that. So they probably thought that was a Grass Knot. But then again, I don't think they had track of how much energy we had. Also, I think Moonblast is just 1 or 2 charms more than a Grass Knot. But yeah, I can take a lot of people off guard there. So moving into the next battle, as you can see, Whimsicott is really putting in work for this team. Moving into the 4th battle, I believe we have Azumarill into a Toxicroak. Yeah, pretty neutral matchup. Obviously, do have to watch out for Sludge Bomb. But I'm going to go for an Ice Beam here. Again, Toxicroak is extremely glassy, so they're probably going to shield this because it would do quite a bit of damage if it goes unshielded. And yeah, it does get the shield there, which is fine. And at this point, I'm probably going to shield this. Yeah. No, actually, let it go through. I was hoping that it was a Mud Bomb bait, but unfortunately, it's a Sludge Bomb. So not a great situation for us. I'm actually going to let it go through as well, because again, they're probably going to counter us down. And I'm going to come in with my Whimsicott and Charm down, because I know they can't get to a Sludge Bomb. So they make a switch into their Drift Blim. So I'm going to stay in for a bit and then switch into my Braixen to catch the Icy Wind, right? The Icy Wind is resisted because of the fire typing. And yeah, this is fine. So I'm going to try and go for a Psyshock as quickly as possible here. And they're probably going to get to another charge move. This is probably going to be a Shadow Ball, so I'm going to shield this up because Shadow Ball would probably KO from that range. Unfortunately, just another Icy Wind, which is not great for us. In hindsight, I probably should have built up. Beg your pardon. But we managed to land the Psyshock, which is fine. And yeah, at this point, probably it's going to be another Icy Wind, so I'm going to let it go through. It is resisted, and now I'm going to be farming it down, but they actually come in with Toxicroak and instantly delete us. So I'm going to come in with Whimsicott and try and completely charm this Toxicroak down. Let's see what they have in the back. They have a Galarian Stunfisk in the back, so this is not great for us because Galarian Stunfisk does pretty well against this back line, right? So because Charm is resisted as well, I'm going to go for the Grass Knot, does get the shield there, and I'm going to try and go for another Grass Knot as soon as possible, but they lagged a little bit. Actually, there was a couple of battles where there was one battle where I benefited from lag. There was one battle where my opponent benefited from lag. But luckily, we're able to get to a Grass Knot here. It does massive neutral damage. And they're able to get to a charge move. So I'm going to shield this up, right? It's going to be a Rock Slide, which is going to come close to taking out my Whimsicott. And it is a Rock Slide, which is fine. And then they're probably going to get to another Rock Slide right now, which is, I'm hoping that this doesn't KO, right? We're basically going to barely survive and hopefully charm down. But they make a switch into the Drift Blim and it instantly goes down. And then Galarian Stunfisk basically goes down to charm there. So we basically survived like 1 HP, and that was way too close there. That was probably, we had a little bit of luck with the lag, but yeah, I mean, you'll notice that, you know, I think it was this battle or the one after this where, you know, lag completely screwed me up. So anyways, moving into the next battle here, we have Azumarill into a Galvantula. Once again, not a great matchup, so definitely going to stay in for a bit, and then let's see what happens here. I'm going to try and get to this Ice Beam as quickly as possible. They're going to throw a charge move. I'm going to let it go through. I'm hoping again it's just a lunge shield bait. And it is just a lunge which is resisted because of the fairy typing, which is really good for us. I'm going to go for an Ice Beam here. Now, even though this is debuffed, it's probably still going to get the shield from the Galvantula because Galvantula is just extremely glassy. And at this point, I'm going to try and switch into my Whimsicott to catch the discharge. Now, this is probably going to be a discharge which is resisted because of the grass typing. And I'm hoping they don't have a Whimsicott counter in the back. Unfortunately, they have a Rapidash in the back. So again, as you can see, even though Charm is resisted, it's just doing so much damage to this Rapidash. They're able to farm us down, which is fine. So I'm going to come in with a Azumarill to basically soak up this charge move. Probably going to be a Drill Run, which is going to hit for neutral because Flame Charge would be resisted. It is a Drill Run, which is fine. And then, yeah, I'm just going to try and get to this Ice Beam as quickly as possible. We're able to barely get it off, right? It's probably going to get the shield from the Rapidash because it has so much loaded energy. And we do go down, which is fine. And then I'm going to come in with Braixen here and then try and fire spin down. I'm going to have to shield, right? Because it's probably going to be drill run, which is going to one-shot. Unfortunately, just a flame charge, which is fine. So I'm going to try and farm it down and hoping that whatever they have in the back, Braixen can sweep, right? I'm really hoping that they don't have something like an Azumarill in the back, but unfortunately they have an Azumarill in the back. So this is GG's at this point. I mean, there's not a lot that Braixen can do against Azumarill. You can just do some chip damage with these Psyshocks, but it's going to take forever to basically get there, and they're going to have to get they can just get off 2 charge moves. Right now, there's probably going to be an Ice Beam, which is resisted, but I still have to shield this. They go for the Hydro Pump straight away, which is fine. But yeah, there's not a lot I can do right now. I can just go for another Psyshock, but they can probably bubble us down there. So that's one of the downsides of saving shields for Braixen. If they have something like an Azumarill in the back, there's not a lot you can do, and you have no choice but to go down there. So anyways, moving into the next battle here. This was the second set where this was like 2-1 in the second set right now. Moving into, I think, the 4th battle of the second set here. We have Azumarill into an Empoleon. Pretty interesting matchup this, because again, we're both doing resisted damage to each other. Of course, Empoleon does have access to Drill Peck, which is going to hit for neutral. So I'm going to go for Hydro Pump right away here, because Hydro Pump, even though it's resisted, it's still going to do quite a bit of damage, because Empoleon is pretty glassy in the Great League. As you can see, does about 40% of Empoleon's health, which is pretty significant. Don't want to go for Ice Beam because it's double resisted, but they go for Drill Peck, which is fine. Doesn't really do that much damage because it doesn't have stab coming from an Empoleon. So I'm going to try and go for an Ice Beam, but we're not able to get it in time. So I'm going to let it go through, right? We can survive it even if it's a Drill Peck. It is a Drill Peck, which is fine. And we should be able to get to an Ice Beam here. Now, even though this is double resisted, it's probably going to be enough to take out Empoleon from this range, but does get the shield there. So this is not great for us. I was really hoping that, I could win position, because I come in with Whimsicott, but I'm going to have to shield, right? Because Drill Peck is going to hit for super effective, but they go for Hydro Cannon. So definitely should have let that go through, or probably could have let that go through, but it's fine. And they come in with Skarmory. I'm going to go into Braixen here, and they have a Shadow Skarmory. So the fact that they're not switching out tells me that they have something else in the pack, which is also weak to Braixen. So I'm going to shield this up, and then hopefully Braixen can close out in game. Again, because the Shadow is taking a lot of damage from these Fire Spins, I'm going to go for the Flame Charge to hopefully boost these boost the Ember damage. So again, I'm going to try and completely farm this Skarmory down. They're able to get to a charge move here, which is fine, right? Because now I can come in with Whimsicott and Charm down from this range, and but they make a switch into their Shadow Victory Bell. So this is not great for us. Obviously, it's probably GG's at this point. I'm really trying to get to a Grass Knot here, and I don't know what happened here. I mean, we completely lagged, and then my Whimsicott basically goes down there. So this is what I was talking about earlier. One of those games where lag screwed me over. I don't know if I could have won even if we hadn't lagged, but probably could have gotten off Grass Knot, which would have been double resisted. But Shadow Victory Bell is so glassy that probably would have gone down, right? I don't know. I'm not sure though. We probably deserve to lose that, but it's fine. Anyways, moving into the final battle, I think, of the video, we have Azumarill into a Unova Stunfisk. So I'm gonna have to stay in this matchup. It's not a great matchup, but it's actually a pretty decent matchup as well. I mean, not a terrible matchup because we're also doing super effective damage to them. But again, Stunfisk is able to spam out those discharges, right? So I'm going to go for an Ice Beam here. And it's pretty tanky as well, right? Even though it hits for super effective, as you can see, it just does only about 50% of its health. And at this point, I'm going to let it go through as well. We can definitely survive another discharge as we do that, and hoping that I can get to an Ice Beam in time. But yeah, actually I don't. I'm going to shield this up, and I'm going to try and completely bubble this Stunfisk down. Because now we've lost shield advantage, but we have switch advantage, which can be pretty crucial. So let's see what comes in. They come in with Skarmory. I'm going to go straight for the Hydro Pump here. Now this is going to do massive neutral damage or get the shield from the Skarmory. It lands, which is fantastic for us. Does about 50% of Skarmory's health. They are going to farm us down. So I'm going to come in with Braixen here and then try and completely farm it down. But they make a switch into the Shadow Machamp. This is beautiful. I can come in with Whimsicott and completely charm this Shadow Machamp down. And yeah, they come in with Skarmory. This is fine. And they actually decide to throw a charge move. This is really good for us, right? I was hoping they wouldn't farm us down, but they realized that and they undercharged. That was very smart play on their part. But then again, Skarmory is very low and Charm does so much damage in spite of being resisted. As you can see, they're not throwing a charge move. We're not throwing a charge move as well, and basically ends up being a double KO, but we still have a Braixen in the back and we're able to take the win there. So extremely close battles. As you can see, some really sweaty battles in there. A little bit of luck here and there as well, but overall, pretty decent team comp. Not a team comp that I would recommend. They're probably better fire type options than Braixen, but I definitely wanted to try it out because I'll be evolving this into a Delphox to try it out in the Ultra League. So I just wanted to test Braixen in the Great League before that. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.